Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Chalk Talk here in the DK Pittsburgh Sports Steelers YouTube channel. Chris Halicke here. TJ Watt gets all kinds of attention, obviously, for racking up sacks and winning at least one Defensive Player of the Year. Probably should have won multiple by now. Last year, the sack numbers were down a little bit. Wasn't even in the top 5 when it comes to NFL leaders in sacks. Does that mean that he's on the decline or anything like that? Well, I'd argue no. And the main reason why is because, TJ Watt isn't just a pass rusher. So much of the edge position nowadays is judged by sack numbers, which was one of the reasons why I think some fans argued for TJ Watt to be the Defensive Player of the Year in 2023 because he had more sacks than Myles Garrett, and Myles Garrett ended up winning the award. And I do think TJ Watt should have won that year, so that's not really making my point, but the point is that sacks were consistently pointed at. And sacks aren't everything with this position. How well do they defend the run? What other ways can they possibly contribute? And a lot of the time, it is either as a pass rusher or it's in run defense because some edge defenders were 4-3 defensive ends coming out of college, not 3-4 outside linebackers. So obviously we're gonna look at some examples here. It's just 3 examples of how TJ Watt makes an impact in the run game and why he is still possibly the best run defending edge defender in the league. That's not just my opinion. Now, if you take, granted, I take PFF grades with a grain of salt. I think you should too. But if you believe in PFF grades, TJ Watt was the highest graded run defender among all edge rushers last year. Why is that? Well, let's take a look. Here's a run against the Falcons. They move receiver in motion here. And you can see at the initial outset here, when you see all the offensive linemen move in this direction, like this, that is wide zone, outside zone. And this initial step by TJ shows that he is going to be going with that, and that offensive line was looking to kick him out, suggesting wide zone. And look at this little step he takes to the inside. Boom, he's in the backfield and gets the TFL. Okay. Typically, the edge does not want to do that. Because if you shoot this gap, the running back's primary attack point when it comes to wide zone is kind of the outside hip of the ghost tight end if there's no tight end on that side. That's the primary attack point. And so if you lose contain on the edge and you don't get back there and make the tackle, there's going to be all kinds of running room. And you can see the size of that hole. If Watt were to miss and he were to somehow get and hit that hole, that's going to be a sizable gain. So it is a risk, but it's also a calculated risk. TJ Watt isn't... One thing that he doesn't get enough credit for is how smart of a football player he is. He doesn't make this move to the inside unless he has a really good feeling that wide zone is coming. And that, number one, he can take that step to the inside, shoot this gap right here, where if right there he gets held, there you go. You're drawing a flag. It's backing up 10 yards. That's a win too. But if you do get past this, which he does, now you've got the running back dead to rights. And you've got, and it also really helps that both Montrevious Adams and Keanu Benton do a great job of getting off their blocks. And now they're able to. And the other great thing about doing this, by the way, is that even if it's Robinson, even if Robinson makes a miss here, just the fact that he stopped the running back on his track and forced him back to the inside. That's the other part. That's the other role of an edge defender is if you're not going to win, if you're not going to get a TFL, you've got to make sure that he does not get to the outside here. You have to make sure. It can be the traditional way by just taking on this block and sealing off this edge so that whenever the running back is running on this track, he's forced to cut back inside, which is typical of wide zone anyway. But in doing it this way, not only does he force the running back to get back there by actually being in the backfield, where even if he were to spin out of this and then hit up here, you know, these two guys have already won their blocks, and now he can be tackled. But TJ just makes a TJ play. So that's one way TJ is phenomenal against run defense, or in run defense. This is a different way. The Broncos are going to move the tight end in motion here for a sweep, and you can see this is not fair. I mean, why are you having 84 single block TJ Watt, which Watt immediately, I mean, just with this motion alone, like, so the receiver gets hands on the chest. Okay, great. TJ's strength alone is going to separate the hands like that. I mean, look at that position right there. Separates the hands, and as soon as hands are gone, you have lost all leverage. All leverage is gone. He gets to the other side, and now this pulling back has to take away Watt. So, dumb on Denver for trusting 84 to block Watt, but now he's absorbed a double team. And Patrick Queen won. I mean, he shoots this gap, gets past, was at the center. He shoots this gap right here, the A gap. He gets past the center. Watt forces him back inside. Again, that's what you want to do as an edge defender. Where is all of your help? If you are an edge defender, where is your help? Is it out here? Well, no, because you got one linebacker. That's good. You got a secondary. You got a corner right there. And you likely have another corner out there. But those are, I mean, you got one good tackler and two not so great tacklers when it comes to overall tackling ability. Even if you have good tackling corners, they're still the worst tacklers on the field. Where's your help? It's all right there. This is your help. That's where you want to force the running back to go to. So if you can't make a tackle, you can at least do whatever you can to seal this off to force him to go back this way, which is what Watt does. And because of that, now Queen, who won his rep, is back there, and Highsmith, which is pretty typical of any any sweep or toss or anything to one side. This edge defender consistently doesn't get blocked. And so now, because he's unblocked, because Watt forced him back to the inside, now Highsmith has the ability to make a play. And then when we watch this develop, he's going to cut it back. Now Queen's back there. Highsmith's back there. That's a win. So Watt didn't get anything on the stat sheet there. He didn't get a TFL. He didn't get anything that shows up in a box score. But that play doesn't happen without TJ Watt. Just goes to show. All right. Final play here. This is a good example. So the Broncos are running something called split zone, which they are running a zone concept to the middle here, an inside zone, while the tight end comes over and blocks the edge defender. Okay, so that's called split zone. When the tight end comes over to make this block, that should seal off Watt, right? I mean, everything right there looks to be blocked up. You've got this. I mean, shoot. Let's actually take a look and see how the offensive line blocks this up, because you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys right there that can all be blocked up. where you have that guy on that guy, 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 and that guy on that guy. Got this blocked up. Now, 80 can come over, block off Watt. You got this receiver on Elliott. You got a hat on everybody. That's what you look for as an offense when you're running the football. But when you have a guy who can beat a block and wreak havoc, and then in a very, very compromised position, be able to still wrap the leg and force a TFL, I mean, again, you have a guy who just defends the run better than almost any other edge defender. I mean, you can even see Watt, it's not just looking at the running back or looking at the quarterback. It's not just that. He sees this guy coming. He's a smart football player. He has great vision. He can see this and look, he kind of steps to the inside there. Steps to the inside, makes it harder for the tight end to get him. And because the running back tries to cut this back this way, he makes that block harder for the tight end. Again, that's also not a great job. I mean, if I'm the running back here, split zone is usually, I understand, like, this seems closed off, this is closed off, this is closed off. Your best bet, honestly, is to probably just kind of keep going this way and maybe try to shoot this gap, something. Maybe 74 will block off Benton, and you can eventually hit this gap or squeeze through that. That's also, you have Adams on a tackle here. That's not fair either. I mean, this is just great run defense by the Steelers in general, but Watt definitely has an obvious impact by getting the TFL. Again, when you look at some of the stuff, I mean, even when you look at like an actual like non-subjective numbers, average depth of tackle for TJ Watt last year in run defense was 1.7 yards. Now, it sounds great. That was also 15th in the NFL among edge rushers who had at least 200 snaps. His run stop percentage, I got to scroll down for a ways. Tied for 25th at 6.6% among edge rushers who, among edge rushers who played at least 200 snaps. So again, you're kind of wondering, okay, well, why did he get the highest grade? Well, it's because of the stuff that he does that also impacts the run game. Stuff that doesn't always show up with a run stop or a tackle or something like that, especially in the second clip that we looked at, where he doesn't get any glory here. He seals off the edge, takes on a double team, and Queen and Highsmith are the ones who end up getting the glory. They're the ones who end up getting the credit for the shared tackle in the backfield. He's a really good run defender, and that cannot be discredited. It can't be overlooked when you're talking about, is TJ Watt possibly worth the contract extension he's going to get? Yes, he is. He is. When you think about $42 million, you're like, oh my gosh, that's a crazy number. Well, when you look at the way the salary cap has grown since the last time TJ Watt got a contract extension, it's going to be the same percentage of the cap. It's the same number, just adjusted for inflation. So, anyway, TJ Watt, elite run defender. That's why he's one of the greats in the game right now. Don't just look at sacks, look at run defense too. Catch you guys on the Flippity Flip. We'll see you tomorrow for the last Chalk Talk of the week. Before a great weekend, we'll see you later.